We can have some outtakes. No worries.
Steven, you didn't need to go in here? Who been in? Never mind. There's a whole bunch of cups in there. I'm going to this other one.
Okay.
Tomorrow is the topic for bad kids, right?
Shall I heard my name? Oh, hold on, Tamika.
Sure, baby.
Hey, how y'all doing?
What it is right
How
now?
you doing? How you doing?
Back.
Yeah, I've been here.
Good, yeah. What it is?
Yeah, where you been?
To and fro, good, everywhere.
Oh Lord, Curtis said you ain't know you
Good. Went ahead and muted her. Let's see what we got. Whew. Oh, that's for tomorrow. Oh. If for some reason you can't find the paper, you can actually call them on the back end of e-services and have them to resend it to you, just an FYI. All right, we're back.
Okay. Okay, I didn't bring my water. I thought I did, but apparently I didn't. So I'll just text my husband when I need it. Oh.
All right.
Okay. Oh, she.
All right, here's a good one.
You bring me my water, please. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Okay, so welcome to episode 5 of Decoding the Coins. And today we are going to be discussing how credit works. So the first thing I want to say is it's 2023 and we're going to stop shaming people for bad credit.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
There are so many reasons why people's credit can go up and down.
Mhm.
Anyone who is even just minimally versed on credit knows that your credit score fluctuates daily.
Yes.
You know, so you might be a 660 on a Tuesday and you can be a 675, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On a Thursday. So
Yeah.
the way that the credit algorithm works is so volatile. It's almost as volatile as like the stock market. You know what I mean?
Yes, it
goes
is.
up and down depending upon what it is that you do. But in this episode, we're going to give you first a little bit of history on credit, and then we're going to tell you how you can protect your credit score and how you can stay on top of your credit health, because it's extremely important.
Yes.
Alrighty, so I like to start with statistics. I'm a numbers person. It is the Virgo in me. So based on a study in 2020 by the Urban Institute, Black Americans, right?
Yes.
Average credit score of 674, which is lower than the national average of 680. Similarly, Latinx people have an average credit score of 677. In comparison, white Americans have an average credit score of 710. The disparity in credit scores can lead Black and Latinx Americans in having difficulty assessing credit and facing higher interest rates than their white counterparts. So, I believe that most institutions that were established previous to 1980 are inherently racist. Of
course.
That's just the way that it was. Those institutions were established without us and purposefully to exclude us. So I believe that, white Americans are generally going to have better credit scores because they get better credit opportunities, especially if we're going on face value.
Yes.
One of the things that I encountered when I was coming up is it's probably not so prevalent anymore because we've gotten through the generations. And this is one of the things that I definitely champion Gen Z with is back in the day, we used to have to shorten our names or use our middle names. You know what I mean? If our names were too ethnic sounding, in order for us to be able to get jobs. And the same thing applies with credit decisions. You know what I mean? I was better on paper as T. Marie looking for credit than I did as Tamika Marie looking for credit.
Wow.
Your address also plays a part because even though we have switched to a system that is based on an algorithm, the people who wrote the algorithm it's biased. You know,
Yes. Yes.
so with those biases, we have to take into consideration that we are still fighting behind the curve. All right.
Yes.
Now, so before you even get out of the gate, if you do not have any financial education, then you're kind of like already doomed because we're set back.
Thank you.
Now, additionally, the study found that Black and Latinx Americans are more likely to have collections on their credit reports, indicating a higher likelihood of falling behind in payments. So, one of the things that I really appreciated about how credit is being reformed is they removed medical collections, right?
Hmm.
Medical collections accounted for, I want to say, approximately 25% of the debt collections in America,
Yeah.
right? So we know that houses, foreclosures, cars, repossessions are a high number, but medical collections is what would literally kill people.
Hmm.
You couldn't go and refinance your house, you know what I mean? Because you
Hmm.
have medical debt. We have health insurance, right?
Yes.
My husband is a grown ass man. And for some reason, one of his medical bills found its way onto my credit. And it's not because we owe the bill, it's just because they refuse to do the proper medical billing.
Wow.
Medical billing and one skip on medical coding, and you can literally tank your credit.
Yeah. That's
So
crazy.
it's extremely minute. And I've written these people several times like, hey, this man is an adult and I'm not responsible
Hmm.
for, his medical decisions, not to mention the HIPAA violations and all of that
Hmm.
good stuff, right?
Hmm.
But I'm not responsible. And I disputed it and it's still literally like sitting on my credit right now.
Wow.
It's crazy, right? So
Very.
ask me how much that little funky $120 bill take my credit. Put me down by 60 freaking points,
I believe it.
right? For a
Yeah.
bill that's not even mine.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we have to keep in mind that when you have collections, or if you're in check systems, or if you had a repossession or anything of that nature, then not only does it reduce your credit score, it puts you into a margin where you're going to pay more for credit.
Yes. Yeah.
So the average person with an over 700 credit score would pay on average, let's say to go and finance a car, between 7 to 10%. That same person buying that same car can pay up to 25 to 30%. So the variation and difference on what the cost of credit is, it's big business. So
Yeah.
so the credit system inherently being racist is a $1 billion business within
Hmm.
itself.
It is.
All right. So it's important to note that many factors continue to play a factor in credit scores. So race isn't just one of them. All right.
Right.
We have to include credit history, your
Hmm.
credit mix.
Yes.
So to me, it's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about financial literacy and financial education, because finding out this information, let's close this Facebook. Finding out this information as early as possible, educating people and letting them know the process of saving. You know what I mean? A lot of people say pay yourself first, and I'm good with paying yourself, but pay
Hmm.
yourself. You would be surprised how many people will have the money to pay their bills sitting in their checking account and they just don't. The money will sit there. They'll go grocery shopping, they'll be hanging out, they'll be eating, and you got $1,000 in your bank account. You got $600 worth of bills, and you done spent your $400, and now you're staring at that $600 and don't want to pay nothing.
But wait a minute. I got something to say in my defense, though.
You cannot defend indigency. Come on.
Well, wait, because we can unpack this. Like, this is really, we can unpack this though. Like, if you really include the whole mental health thing that's going on, if you don't have a healthy relationship with money, then yeah. Like, okay, so I was never raised to understand the importance of credit.
Okay.
I was always told, well, I'm not trying to buy nothing anyway, so what do I care about credit? That's the mentality that I was given. You know what I'm saying? My mother was not good with money at all. And it's like, okay, we need to take care of this. So why are you doing that? Or either why, if you don't have enough money, if we're about to get our lights cut off, you're going to pay the mortgage. That's
Yeah.
cool, but we ain't got no lights.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I never understood. I'm like, just pay the electric bill. Why can't, because if we can't negotiate with this electric bill, but you can negotiate paying what you have on this mortgage and hurry up and pay the rest before the grace period is over. Because with any company, there's a grace period.
There
you
is
know?
a grace period.
So, I mean, if I have money, if it's $5 in my account, guess what? I did not have a healthy relationship with money. So to see it in my account, I'm like, I ain't touching it, knowing full well stuff is due, right? So it takes you changing your environment, right? And being around somebody that understands, hey, pay the bills. Okay. Then what you have left is what you play with if you want to, or you can just put that in your savings account. If you want to go on a trip, plan it. Instead of doing all this little stuff, do something big.
I agree.
So yeah, it's all about your mental health and your relationship with money.
So that's a really good point that you brought up. So I want to touch on that really quickly, right? So the latest stats that came out from the mental health awareness in regards are 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in 2020, 8.74% of Black Americans, non-Hispanic, were considered depressed. That's 95,547 people. 12.72% of the Hispanic population. That's 139,084. That's over 200,000 people that are suffering from depression. And what's the first thing that suffers when you are depressed? Your work habits and your work ethic. You can't get a lot of people fail to function properly. So not only are we not getting out of bed and going to work, paying those bills are the last thing on our mind. Or maybe it's the first thing on our mind, and it's the reason why we can't get out of bed anyway, because a lot of Americans live from paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
So, I want to say today we're going to talk about exploring the intricacies of credit and discussing how to build and maintain good credit, because it's such a freeing thing to know that you don't have all of this debt that's on your back. So credit is basically the ability to borrow money from financial institutions like banks, credit card companies. And if you're getting your money from anywhere other than a bank or a credit card company, you're most likely paying entirely too much in interest. I like to tell my people, go and sit your money with a relationship that's going to value it. Generally speaking, in America nowadays, that's going to be a credit union. They're going to pay you more interest on being able to borrow your money, and they're going to have less fees. It's really funny because there was someone on Facebook yesterday, and they were like, what does it mean when my bank keeps telling me the check is cleared? I know the check is cleared. What does it mean when they keep telling me that my funds will be available the next day and it's not available? And I'm like, they're still trading with your money, sweets. They've got a hold on your money and they don't want to be able to release it. You'll particularly see this with large checks. If you're cashing a check and it's over $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 and up, they want to put a 5-day hold on it. But guess what? We live in the electronic age. They've got that money day two. Because if it bounces, they certainly going to come back and be like, hey, this check didn't clear. I don't know what to tell you. You know? So if you know a check bounces in 24 to 48 hours, you definitely know that it clears, but they want to be able to place a hold on that so that they can transact with your money. So credit unions is definitely the way to go, because not on one, they can see that your money's coming in, so they know the volume. The smaller the bank, the more they value the relationship, because it's literally you're helping to get their bank, to keep their bank flowing, right? A lot of credit unions will list you, you'll get dividends and payouts, right? Because some credit unions have the option where the members are also shareholders of the credit union. So those are ideal institutions to put your money in. Especially if you've gotten to a point where you're not overdrafting your account on a consistent basis. If it is an issue that you consistently have, you want to look for banks, credit unions that do not have overdraft features. When the money is gone, cut it off. I'm guilty. When I was young, I used to overdraft my account all the time. Like, oh, it doesn't make a difference. But this is back when it was, $17. Account. Some of these companies now, it's like $30 per overdraft. If I didn't have the money to pay it, I definitely do not have $30 for every overdraft in every sequence. I believe that banks should be regulated to be able to charge a certain amount of overdrafts per month and then just stop. You know what I mean?
Because that maintenance fee, I don't like that.
I've seen people that pay hundreds of dollars in overdraft fees in a month. Just because it's not there and they're still going to get hit with those fees. It's asinine. But
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah.
back. I went on a little bit of a tangent there.
No, that's okay, because it need
In
to
the
be said.
effort, in the effort of not having to be impacted by bankruptcy, the first thing that you're going to want to do is set up a budget, a clear and concise budget. You need to know how much money is coming into your account so you know what you're working for. A lot of people, when they sit down and they start to work out their budget, they realize that they're literally working just to pay bills.
Yes.
You make just enough money. And if that's the case, then I would implore you to start seeking out additional streams of income.
Yes.
A lot of people get beat over the head and they're like, I don't have time to start a business. No one said that you had to start a business to have an additional stream of income.
Right. You don't. Listen, look, you can be a dog walker.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? That's not starting a business.
You can be a dog walker. It can even just be something as simple as you're selling the extra stuff in your house that you normally donate.
Poshmark.
So get on Poshmark, get on eBay.
Yes.
You know, so my husband recently outgrew. He gained some weight and his foot got wider. So he wasn't able to fit a plethora of shoes. Now, mind you, he's got shoes, you know, when you're an adult, you keep your stuff, right? So he's got shoes that are classics from, you know, 10, 15 years ago. So I'm like, hey, babe, you know, you should get on, you spruce them shoes up and put them on eBay. That man made like $10,000
selling his shoes.
Selling shoes. There was like 75 pairs of shoes that he could no longer fit. He went from a size 10 to a size 10 and a half, 11. And, you know, I'm big. So I'm big on feet. So some people would stuff their foot in that shoe. And I'm just like, you only get one set of feet in your entire life, sir. You
Exactly.
go from shoes. Yes. Because on eBay, it starts a bidding war.
This is true.
You know what I mean?
I'm in the same position as your husband. I lost a lot of weight. I can't fit my clothes. I'm swimming in them. So it's either Poshmark or eBay.
Yeah. And I was, so of course, you know, you can't cross post because someone's actually going to win the bid or whatever the case may be. But there are so many different options for you to really get out there and get yourself an extra stream of income to make sure that you're not just working. Or alternative. Some people don't want to have to go through all of that. Then it's time to dust off your resume and your skill set.
That part.
Okay. People that work in corporate America, they generally provide some type of education resource for you. A lot of corporate jobs will let you take an extra course, send you back to school, take advantage of that employee match.
Yep.
If you are in a corporate situation, I also suggest that if they have any type of retirement plan in their matching, why are you leaving that money on the table? You know, right? Okay, so we definitely want to make sure that you know what you're making and understand that the amount of money that you're making and see what it costs to make that money.
Yes.
So you want to know how much are you paying in gas or, you know, your transportation fees to get back and forth to work. If you have children, how much are you paying in daycare for those children to be watched? Is it cost effective for you to go to work? Some people find that by the time they get done with transportation, daycare, lunches, you know what I mean? Because they're eating out and all of that stuff. If you are upside down after you get done going to work, stay home.
Exactly.
Stay your butt at home.
Yes.
And hire yourself out for whatever it is that you're doing or based on your skill set.
Yes. I agree.
Work from home jobs have definitely made a transition since we've come through the pandemic. A lot of people, a lot of jobs are saying we don't want to pay, you know, $20,000 to have this big, huge office that no one's really coming into. So that definitely helps.
Yes.
So once you know exactly where you land and how much money then you're making, then you can start to trim your expenses.
Yes.
One of the things that I know that I was guilty about, we would probably spend anywhere between $2,500 to $3,000 just eating out in a month.
Jesus.
It's extremely ridiculous, but you know, we're a family of 7. So anytime we go out if we go to McDonald's, it's a $50 bill.
Right.
You know what I mean? $50 because so if we're actually going to an established restaurant, the bill is going to average about $120. And that's without drinks, tax, and tip.
Yeah.
So you just want to make sure that you are comfortable and affordable in the lifestyle that you're in.
Right.
The thing that you'll want to do is start attacking your debt. Pay down the highest bill or the highest interest, whichever one is first.
Yes.
Okay. So if you've got a bill that's $500 and you're paying 32% interest, pay that $500 off immediately.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Overpay your bill.
Yes.
If you've got a car note and your car note is $350, but your interest rate is 21%, then you should probably be paying $500 or $600 on that car note and specifically applying that additional payment to the principal only.
Right. If you can, people, don't hurt yourself trying to do that. If you can do it, great. If you can't, don't beat yourself up about it, because they will literally send themselves into a frenzy.
I'm going to say this. You can't afford not to. And let me
True.
tell you why. Because the longer you hold on to that bill, the more money that it's costing you. They get all their interest up front, boo-boo.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're paying them first, and then you're paying the bill second.
Right.
So you want to front load those high interest rate cards, those high interest rate loans, so that you're paying down your principal so that the money costs you less.
Yes, I agree.
You can't afford not to. It's like, you know. Okay, so with that being said, hold on. I got to sneeze.
Okay. Bless you.
Woo!
Right.
So also, you have to understand that there are different types of credit scores. A lot of people go through credit and they get to looking at their wait a minute, hold on. I'm having a brain fart here because we've got FICO scores, and then what's the other one called, B? Hold on.
FICO
Vantage.
The which one?
Vantage. So
yeah.
FICO
Okay.
score, and then you've got your Vantage score. Most credit repair processes, Credit Karma, and all of those guys, when you're logging in and you're monitoring your own credit, those are generally Vantage scores, Vantage 3.0. And what that means is it's a little bit less rigid than the FICO method of scoring. Mm-hmm. So generally, your Vantage scores are going to be higher than what your FICO score is.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure, especially if you're going to get a car or a house, that you monitor your FICO score. You also want to, I personally recommend having a credit lock. That way your credit cannot be erroneously ran. Habitual line steppers, people that like to go out and apply for a lot of credit at one time, you tank it. When you're going to purchase a car, lock your credit. Sign up for that Experian account, lock your credit. That way they get one hitter quitter. That's it. Here's the score. This is what you have, and this is what you're going to work off of. Mm-hmm. One of the great things that has definitely changed is now a lot of people are pulling soft reports.
Yes.
They're doing soft inquiries so they can kind of see where you land instead of, tanking your credit score, because you can lose 8 to 10 points per inquiry. Easy.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Extremely frustrating.
I mean, I went and got a card just so I can have enough lines of credit if I wanted to do something, right? So they can see, over the board, like, okay, she has this credit, she has these cards, but her utilization is where it needs to be. Her payments are on time, right? So, yeah. And now at this point, I'm locking my credit because, like, I'm done. My husband's family has got an insane amount of land. So I said, Curtis, why are we buying a house when we can just build on your family land? They're willing to give us a part of it, or we can just get a double wide, pay it off with our IUL savings that we've been saving, pay it all at once. Yeah. Guess what? Now we don't have to pay that. All we have to do is put in on the taxes to keep the land.
Agreed. Yeah.
I'm like, this is the direction we need to go. The older we get, the less we need to be using our credit, and the more we need to pull from our savings through our IUL. That's what we can live and do what we need to do on, as opposed to struggling. I
agree. I always advise people to get to front load your financial portfolio with assets. Mm-hmm. So if you have the ability to get onto some familiar land, that's amazing.
Yeah.
They deed it to you though, where your house is sitting, because you don't never want no family squabbles to come back. And now they're talking about mismanagement.
Definitely there will be a lawyer present. Like, listen, it ain't like I don't trust y'all, but I ain't stupid either.
Oh no, baby, business is business. It's not about trust. It's about paperwork. So we always get that right on out the way.
Yeah.
So when you're applying, so say your credit score is pretty low. Here are a couple of action items that you can do that will set you on the right path.
Oh, well, good, because I need that.
The first thing you want to do is align yourself with the credit union. With that credit union, there is generally a secured card option or a secure loan option. You want to seek out one of those. If you do not have a credit union, also, I should say this, credit unions are a little bit more lenient if you've had issues with banks in the past. So they can give you a second chance account. All right.
Mm-hmm.
If you're experiencing problems where you cannot get a bank account, reach out to myself or B, and we can get you walk through the steps so that
Yeah,
you can get yourself back into a bank account. There is help for you. You're not locked
exactly.
out. You do not have to depend on fintech accounts for the rest of your life. There's
Exactly.
hope for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So once you get yourself into a bank account, you can apply for a secured card. There are also other options that can help you. I know that what's the name of it?
Which one?
Self. Self will
Self.
help.
Yeah.
Self is a credit relationship builder.
Mm-hmm.
Kickoff is a credit relationship builder.
Mm-hmm.
So there are definitely options that will help you to be able to come in at a low cost. You don't have to put $1,000 into an account and then just let it sit there, because let's be real, that's really not always a viable option, especially if you're in a situation where you're upside down with the debt. So get yourself a
Mm-hmm.
low credit card payment going, right?
Yes. And I'll add that with the credit union, even if you mess up your relationship with them, they are willing to, allow you to come back. I've done that with my credit union so many times. I'm like, y'all, I'm sorry. Because the credit union is just not convenient for me to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, okay, well, this is how much it's going to cost for you to reopen the account. I'm like, that's steep. But in the long run, if I do need a loan, I think I'm just going to go ahead and just switch to doing more banking with my credit union than Chase. Now, I will say this. Chase, go ahead.
Heavy bank with your credit union. And I'm going to tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Because Chase, your money is peanuts.
Oh, I know.
It's and my money would be peanuts in Chase.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? It makes no difference. They transact on such a high level that there is no such thing as really a banking relationship unless you really know the manager. There's
Right.
no, and they still have guidelines and flexibility that credit unions don't have because they have rigid corporate outlooks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's 100% about profitability instead of community banking.
Yes. Yes.
You want to get yourself into a community banking situation.
Yes. I agree.
Get yourself into a small secure card. Pay your bills on time. If you cannot pay your bills on time, I've got a free download on the website for talking to creditors. You got to pick up the phone. Lose the anxiety. You
Yeah.
would be surprised. Don't let your car get repossessed. You can call them. There's actually a process that you can go through. Most auto loans will do this, where you can get an extension, either an extension, which is more time to pay,
Yeah.
or you can tack that payment or payments. Generally, last time I worked in auto finance, it was a while ago, but you could take up to 3 payments. It used to be, and tack them on to the beginning of your loan.
Used to be, yeah. It's now just one, and you can only do it, once, and then you can't do it no more after that. Like, depending on who your loan company is.
Yeah. So depending on who your loan company is, just pick up the phone and say, "Hey, listen, I'm having a hard time right now. I possibly lost my job, or I had unexpected bills, whatever the case may be." But keep it general. You ain't got to put these people in your business, and don't be over there crying on the phone. That crap don't work.
Yeah, at all. It does not.
But you can structure your finances. So call and let them know, "Hey, listen, I know that my bill is $600. I only have $300. Can I pay this now?" And let them know when you can viably pay the rest. And the moment you get that money, send it off. I know sometimes it'd be worrisome to be broke in a house, or you can't go out and do all the things that your friends is doing. But when you're debt free,
and you learn a whole lot about yourself too. You know what I'm saying? Because you really do. You learn a lot about yourself when you really have to grow up and be like, you know what? I'm tired of being on the outside of the window looking in on the people who have high credit scores. I got clients whose credit scores are almost a 900. And first thing they're going to tell you, well, my grandmother put me on her line of credit. She has an American Express, put me on her line of credit. She's been paying it on time. That's why, my credit is so high. Also, they don't have that much debt. What debt they do have, they just, I was advised, like, no, they do bill pay with your bank. Let them pay it. Yes. Do bill pay. And I'm like, baby, I'm signing up for that today. Because, I have 2 credit cards that I have to call them a month in advance, schedule my stuff to come out on its due date. I'm tired of doing that.
Yeah.
I want an automatic draft, and they don't offer that.
Okay.
They don't offer that.
that is one of the cons that you can see with community banking. Some of these banks might not have all of the products that big banking has. So you'll definitely want to do your research and find out which bank is going to give you the benefits that you need.
Yes,
So switching out for a smaller bank has to make sense. So
exactly.
keep that in mind. Keep your credit utilization low. Do not max out your cards. It's
Yeah.
going to tank your rating, right?
Yes.
And then you have to diversify your credit. Having 4 credit cards is not going to guarantee you to get approved, even if you have a 700 credit score,
Mm-mm.
because banks need to know that you can manage your credit cards and you can manage your loan and you can manage, you know what I mean, your store
Mm-hmm.
department cards. They want to see a healthy mix of different credit options so
Mm-hmm.
that they know that you are an adult and you're capable of carrying all of this balance.
Mm-hmm.
Adulting is tough, y'all. I hate to
It
say it.
is. It is. And this is a side note. Just in watching and reading and studying people who have money that they can just go out and buy a house with cash, no problem. You will find that a lot of people with a lot of money will rent. They're not trying to buy, because the French term for mortgage is a death note. You will die before that house is paid off. And I understand it's the American dream. I get it. However, think about it. If you want to travel and have experiences, I'd rather rent and I can just call maintenance when my stuff is all busted up, right? But I got a sister-in-law that is now crying broke because she had to replace her hot water heater because she owns the house. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm like, I'm more comfortable than you are. I have more room than you do because you own this. I'm renting. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm gonna say this. I would have never bought a house in California just because the size of the house was not going to get me what my money needed, right?
Yes.
Being a family of 7, a house that would have fit us would have cost us $1 million. Now that same $1 million out here in the great state of Oklahoma can get me 4 houses.
That part.
So buying a home definitely has to make sense for where you're located.
Yes.
Also, there are ways for you to be able to make home ownership make sense. First, it automatically increases your net worth,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So your portfolio is automatically increased by being a homeowner.
Mm-hmm.
Being a responsible homeowner is what's going to be the catch.
Yes.
So when you purchase your home, buying a home can be somewhat like buying a car.
Yeah.
So when you go to the car lot and you go to buy your car, there's a couple of things that they make you have, right? They want to know that you have insurance on the car, so that if anything happens to it, that car note is going to be taken care of, right?
Yeah.
Not going to be a total loss. So that covers you. Your insurance covers you, your bodily harm, and any mistakes that you make. But now there's an extra coverage that a lot of car companies are building into it, and it's called gap insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I got that. That gap insurance does is your insurance company is only going to pay how much the car is worth.
Yes.
Now, cars are a depreciating asset.
Yes.
Homes are an appreciating asset, generally, if the market is right.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So when you drive off the lot, the value of that car is automatically going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, that gap insurance is going to pay the difference between what the car is now worth to what you owe.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
So when you go to get your homeowner's insurance, there are generally warranties that can be instituted on that homeowner's insurance and the appliances that you purchase in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to buy your home, if it's an old water heater, you can include in there, hey, this needs to be brought up to code, or there are certain concessions that you can negotiate in your house. You don't have to go and buy a rundown house and now you're responsible for fixing this thing up. You know what I mean? And also know that when you do buy your home and something goes wrong, if your house has appreciated in value, then you can go and take out a loan against your home.
Yeah.
And your credit score, although it plays a factor in what your interest rate is going to be, you're kind of really guaranteed to be able to get the money because they want your house.
Right. Exactly. And then if you're gonna refi and do anything like that, please make sure you can pay that bill.
So you want to make that HELOC, that home equity line of credit, or the refinance for you to go and take the cash equity out of the home are definitely viable options that help to be able to build generational wealth.
Yeah.
Because now that you own this house and you've put a little bit of work into it, if you're capable of doing that,
yeah.
Now you have an appreciating value.
Exactly.
So although I am an advocate of being able to rent, I definitely believe that home ownership is not for everyone, right?
Right.
But for some people, it doesn't make sense to continue to rent. If you are a single person, or if you're a married person and you don't have any children, you don't need no big old house. You know what I mean? That might not be the life for you.
Mm-mm.
But if you are a business owner, having a home as an asset is definitely a plus, because your house can literally pay for your business to be able to get off of the ground, and
Right.
so on and so forth. So there are pros and cons to home ownership.
Exactly.
Definitely.
But
But
then y'all that own a house, don't put people down because they rent.
no,
Don't do that.
no, because behind the part of the con of home ownership is the upkeep.
Yes.
You are now responsible for all of your pipes.
Mm-hmm.
You're responsible for all of your plumbing. You're
Yep.
responsible for, you know what I mean, your
Yeah.
water, your roof, your
Yes.
lawn. You
All
know
of
what I
that.
mean? All of that is totally 100% on you. So if something busts or breaks, then you're the person that's going to have to call and get all of that stuff repaired.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
for if I was a single woman, that would make sense to me.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
as
Mm-mm.
as a busy mother, if I was single, I wouldn't want to necessarily be a homeowner either. That might, I'd probably be better off in a townhouse. And like you said, when the water heater busts, I call maintenance and they come on through and they
Mhm.
fix the shit thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm married to and my husband pays all the bills and things like that, and we rent. Because I'm like, when we hit a certain age, then once his mom figures out our part of her part of the land, then that's where we'll go. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But like I said, I want to be able to go ahead and just pay for everything so we don't have to worry about having to answer anybody for anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is the one value that I did take from my last relationship. Just pay cash for your stuff,
Yeah.
and
I
just be
mean,
done with it.
paying cash for stuff is amazing, but I think that as Black people, it is very important that we make sure that we have credit.
Yes. But and the thing is, and get a healthy, uh, develop a healthy relationship with that money and your credit.
I agree.
Please know that stop saying I don't care about credit. I'm not trying to buy nothing anyway. That's that same mentality that has us at the bottom of the totem pole. It
being
really
able
does.
to, being able to leverage your credit properly can definitely change your generational wealth
Yes.
factor, right? You have the ability to build it. So I guess the last thing that I would like to say is you have to monitor your credit regularly. So I'm with Experian. I get notices consistently like, hey, your credit score went up, it went down. You know what I mean? I get at least 2 of those a week. It goes up,
Yeah.
it goes down, it goes back up. And then I also have fraud detectors because, like we talked about in our last episode, I'm a victim of identity theft, and it's been
Yes.
like this since I was 8 years old. You know what I mean?
Yes.
My social security number has been compromised. Um,
Credit Journey is good too. If you have Chase, that is a good tool.
yes. Unfortunately, sometimes people just find themselves in too much debt, and paying it off is not an option.
Right.
Now, this would speak definitely to people who have had a series of repossessions or possibly bankruptcy, repossessions, as well as foreclosures,
Yeah.
or evictions. And bankruptcy is just the answer for them. So there's two different types of bankruptcies.
Yes. Get into it. I was ready for this one. Ah!
There's two types of bankruptcy. There's personal bankruptcy, which is Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. And Chapter 7 involves liquidating your assets to pay off your debt. So that pretty much means that you're going to get rid of the house, you're going to sell off the cars, and you just going to give everybody an agreeable amount that you guys have worked out while you guys were in court. And Chapter 13 means that you're creating a repayment plan to pay back the debt over 3 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in bankruptcy and you are actually going through the process of Chapter 13, again, it is highly important that you make those payments on time. Generally, within anywhere between 12 to 24 months, you can start reestablishing credit. I say 12 to 24 months because it takes 120 days to build a habit.
Yes.
It takes a minimum of 4 months to be able to build a habit. So if you got yourself into a situation where you have to file bankruptcy, I recommend my clients take that time to reestablish a good relationship with money,
Yes.
and reestablish and build good payment habits.
Yes.
Right? So by the time your bankruptcy is discharged and everything is good to go, you've got at least 12 months of good payment history, and your interest rate, the cost of credit, is going to be significantly lower, so that you don't repeat this same step
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over again. Right?
Yeah.
So Of course, we know that filing a bankruptcy can have a significant impact on your score, and it remains on your credit for 10 years. But
Mhm.
if you filed bankruptcy before, you know that within 3 months, people are already in your inbox like, hey, come and get this credit card. Hey,
Exactly.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's definitely not a death sentence
Mm-mm.
because you filed bankruptcy. So I don't want people to think that if you're drowning and you're looming in debt, bankruptcy is a viable option. Jump on it and stop stressing yourself out. It's
Yes.
unnecessary for you to live with that type of anxiety or as a financial pariah. File
Yeah.
bankruptcy, pay the bills on time, reestablish yourself, and let's start over. It's never too late to start over. I
It's
don't care
never
if
too
you're
late.
22, 32, or 62.
Yeah. It's
Get from
never
up,
too late.
get from up under that strain of debt the best way
Mhm.
that you know how.
Yeah.
Let's also talk about the different types of debt because there's good debt and then there's
Yes.
bad debt.
Yeah.
Okay, so not all debt is bad necessarily, right? But it can help you to grow your wealth and improve your quality of life. Examples of good debt. Now, they want to say student loans. I feel like student loans was a good option of debt 20 years ago.
Mhm.
Unless you're going into a highly specialized career, such as a doctor or a lawyer, and it requires those types of credentials, I personally would not advise someone to get into high student loan debt. Take the classes and courses that are necessary in order for you to be able to live and thrive. They
Mhm.
are literally paying people minimum wage for freaking master's degrees.
They are. They really
Why?
are.
I'm not going to recommend anyone take on $200,000 of student loan debt to be out here making $12.
Because I still have student loan debt, but here's the thing: with the pandemic, I can see on my credit report where they're paying increments of it so that it shows that it's being paid on time. You know what I'm saying? But I was in a deferment program.
It doesn't pay them. What it does is it shows that you have a running balance of zero and it updates that zero. So it does look like you've got an amazing payment history, but
Yeah.
it's actually not paying them off unless some of your loans are in the process of being forgiven. So just want to clarify that.
Okay.
Certain education, certain student loans or degree programs, I should say, can definitely increase your ability to be a high income earner. But we know nowadays you can jump outside with a GED and be a high income earner. It just kind of depends on what your drive is, right?
Mhm.
Mortgages. Buying a home is typically a long term investment that can appreciate in value over time, meaning your property values are going up.
Mhm.
So I've seen people move into houses, don't touch a damn thing, but the property value appreciates, and what cost them $220,000 in 2010 is now worth $800,000 in 2023.
Right.
All right. Business loans. Starting or expanding a business can lead to increased income and, of course, financial stability. So when I took out my business loan for me to be able to run TNB Tots, it was like $10,000. I took out a $10,000 loan.
Mhm.
Within 6 months, I made that money back, paid that money back, and was operating in the green.
But okay, so but what most people need to understand about you is that you have a business that has different entities that you've worked to get them to the degree that they're at. So
Oh,
you can.
that $10,000 business loan was back in 2001. It was when
Okay.
it was when I was first getting ready to jump out the gate. So
Mhm.
a little bit of my back origin story is that in 2001 I was working. Well, actually it wasn't in 2001. It was in 2005 that I took over.
Mhm.
So I started the business in 2001, but I still had my 9 to 5. Right, I was
Yeah.
a 9 to 5. I was going to work every day at Charter One Auto Finance. What ended up happening is when I moved back to California and I was pregnant with Peyton, when I had him, he was born premature. So
Mhm.
again, working a 9 to 5, going to work every day. He was at the hospital. I'm a busy person. Well, I'm a busy minded person. So I chose to go back to work. I'd go visit my baby in the hospital, go to work, get off of work, go back to visit my baby because there was nothing to do. I couldn't just be sitting in the house all day.
Yeah.
When it was time for my baby to come home, they basically was like, we can't give you any more leave. California was a different state at this point.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
didn't have FMLA and all of that good stuff, right?
Nope.
So they was like, there's no more time for you. So they wouldn't give me bonding time with my baby. So I quit my job and I went down to my credit union, Patelco. Shout out to Patelco. I went down to my credit union and
Right.
I had a good relationship with them. You know what I mean? They had helped me finance my car. I was paying off my car note and all of that good stuff. So they knew that I was good for the money. They gave me a $10,000 loan and I put an ad on Craigslist, and TMB literally stands for Tamika Marie Bookkeeping. So TMB Bookkeeping, Tamika Marie Bookkeeping was born with that $10,000 loan, I was able to go. I didn't get an office. I did start off from home because, of course, I had my premature baby. I went and bought myself a desk. I paid my internet for the year. I paid my cell phone for the year. I got myself a printer and I bought like all these boxes of paper. And I was like, we just gonna do taxes and accounting and we gonna trap out the house. And the gentleman that I was dating at the time would literally read me, you know what I mean? Like help me do all that. So it was an experience. But that business loan, it changed my life. That $10,000 quickly put me into a position where I didn't need that 9 to 5. Within 6 months, I was making double what I was making going to work.
Right. So tell people how, if they go get a credit union, right, how long would it take to build that relationship with your credit union, whether you just starting out or you had a bad relationship and you're trying to reestablish?
Okay, so if you had a bad relationship, I would say at least give it 6 months to a year because they want to see that you're capable of making all of your bill payments on time. And when I say 6 months to a year, I mean no NSFs.
Right.
We're not overdrafting our account. We're showing them that we are responsible adults. We know how to pay our bills on time. We know how to pay our bills in full, and we know how to keep a respectable bank balance, right?
Yes.
We not zeroing out. You know what I mean? And we have some significant savings. So when I went to apply for that $10,000 loan, I want to say I probably had about $1,500 in the bank in my savings account. And then I had a couple $100 in my checking account. So it's not like, you know what I mean? I was really high up there. I also had other banking relationships at that point in time. I want to say I was still with Wells Fargo. This was like before the big crash of '08 when we just really discovered that they were icky, you know?
Yeah.
So I still had a relationship with Wells Fargo at the time. So I had other banking options, but Patelco was and let me say, I went to Wells Fargo and asked them, and I had more money in Wells Fargo than I had in Patelco because one of my trust accounts for my parents is at Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
So they could literally see tens of thousands of dollars, you know what I mean, that I could easily gain access to. And one of the people was just like, basically like, you should just take the money from yourself. No. That's not how you leverage wealth.
Right.
So if you see, one of the things that I think is really funny is you'll see people like in some of the tax groups and they're like, if you're using your own money to fund your business, report to this post right now. And there's some truth to it. If you're using your money to fund your own business, then you kind of are behind the curve because every institution has the ability to be able to lend money except for the Black community.
Right.
The Jewish community they give loans to each other. The Arab community, they give loans to each other. The white community can walk into banks and get loans, you know what I mean?
Problem.
With no problem. So we're generally behind the curve. So I think it's extremely important for people to establish those banking relationships with small banks, you know what I mean? So that you have the ability to go in and get that capital. Because I could have took that $10,000 from myself, but it wouldn't have helped me. I mean, it would have paid for it would have given what it needed to give.
Yeah.
But that $10,000 loan helped my credit score. And it showed my bank that I was trustworthy enough for me to go and get some more money if I needed it.
Right.
And then after a while, you'll notice they be trying to give you money. Hey, Tanika, you want to open up another business? What you doing, girl?
Right. How's it going?
How's it going? So then it was time for me to go when I bought my hair company. So that was in 2005, right? So when I opened, I didn't get any money to go and open up Swift and Tidy. But when I did go to get my hair company, when I was pregnant with my daughter, so another thing is I started a stream of income for each one of my children, right? When I was pregnant with my daughter, I actually bought a hair company from someone. And I didn't have the cash on hand. I didn't want to liquidate any of my assets. So I want to say the lady charged me $2,500. For the $2,500, I got about $700-800 worth of stock inventory that she handed over to me. I got the business name. I took ownership of her Twitter, the Instagram, and the Facebook page.
Okay.
All right. And then of course I got her clientele. So I was able to continue fulfilling orders. $2,500. Sure did march right on down to Patelco, got another loan for $5,000, paid her, took that $2,500 and put it into the bank. And then I ordered a branding package, which was like, I kind of changed the logo a little bit.
Yeah.
And then had to go and get all new branding and everything. So that's how that particular business was born. So definitely establish banking relationships that are going to serve you to be able to grow and scale. Let's see. Bad debt. Bad debt involves borrowing money for depreciating assets or consumables, like using a credit card debt to finance vacations, clothing, or dining out. Um, there is a way for you to be able to tweak bad debt. So earlier, I admitted my gluttonous
Girl, it ain't gluttonous hell.
eat out, right? So my family, I'm a foodie. That's my joy. I
Mhm.
love consuming. You can see it when I stand up a little bit. I like
Oh Lord. Not the belly pad.
eating is my jam, right?
Hmm.
So we probably spend, like I said, about 2,000. We average about $2,000 a month just on eating out. So in order for me to be able to flip and spend that, what I did is I went and I got a credit card with a $5,000 limit that gives me rewards, 3 points for every dollar that I spend with restaurants. So now I fly for free.
Wait. Wait. I just died and came back. Did you say a $5,000 limit?
Yes,
Girl,
my credit
I
card.
have to collectively put cards together to get not even close to that.
Baby, so let me introduce you to Navy Federal because they love us.
Okay, so let me say this, and I was waiting on that. I was waiting on that nugget. Thank you, because I literally, that's the bank that I was talking about today, and they were like, "Yeah, sure, you can open an account. We just need to see your face because you were a person of identity theft with our company. So you need to come down to see us so we can see you."
Definitely go in and establish that relationship.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting on. I was waiting on your recommendation for a credit union.
I was with Navy Federal for about 3 months, and they instantly was like, "Yeah, we'll give you the credit card." Initially, when it came out the gate, it was $3,500. From that $3,500 credit limit, I used it, maxed it out twice, paid it off immediately.
Okay.
That was like, "Oh, okay, awesome." And I went for the dining reward, so I get three points for every dollar that I spend.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm averaging about 6,000 points a month.
Okay.
Okay. Between 4 to 6,000 points. And I get $1, I get a point for every gas. So I use it for dining. It's my dining out and gas card.
Okay.
And because it's connected to Navy Federal, as soon as I spend it, I just go ahead and transfer it over.
Okay.
So I'm paying zero interest. None.
Nice. Okay. Well, I'll take that little hour and a half drive. I might go today.
Yeah,
I
strictly.
might.
It's so funny that you say that because when I was in California, I used to have to drive all the way to Fairfield.
Yeah, because I have to drive an hour and a half to Leesville in
Yeah.
order to go ahead and get it open.
Definitely worth it.
Mhm.
So we've pretty much unlocked everything. There is bad debt, but there's even a way for you to be able to flip that bad debt. And if you are in a situation where you have high interest rates on your credit cards, pay it off as soon as possible.
Mhm. And see, I'm about to talk to my husband about closing one of our checking accounts. We have a joint account. We don't use it. I'm like, why do we have this account?
Is there a fee attached to it?
A maintenance fee of $15 a month.
Oh yeah, no, you couldn't pay me. The highest maintenance fee that I've ever paid at any bank was like $12, and it was with Citibank. And the only reason why I was with them is because back in the day, they were the only people that would give you a high ATM output.
Yes.
So you could walk up to Citibank and you could take $1,000 out of
Yes.
the ATM easily. So
Yes.
that's the only reason why I banked with Citibank. Now, you have the ability to be able to call in and be like, "Hey, can you increase my ATM limit?" Most banks will allow you to do that. Or you can pull the money directly out of the ATM. So after that, they lost and that was $12. I wish I would get somebody $15 of my money just for them to hold my money. Y'all stop paying these high ass banking fees.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna talk to him as soon as we get done. Be like, "Hey, we need to go into the bank together and close this joint account because literally, we don't use it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't collectively put our money anywhere." And he's like, "Well, I can see your account. You can see mine." So that's the whole reason why I'm like, let's close this damn account. We don't need it.
Yeah, for real.
We really don't need. It's just one more damn thing I got to look at in the morning because I'm a serial bank checker in the morning. That's the first thing I do after I say thank you, Lord, or oh shit, because I'm tired. I'm at my phone looking at my bank account because let me tell you something. I do not want to get to the middle of the day and find out there was some damn messery going on in my account. Let me just get this out the way in the morning.
I think that that's actually a very good practice. Is to make sure that you're checking your bank account daily. I'm really excited about the, I don't know if I got a chance to tell you, but we are in the process of rolling out some budget journals for people. And
nice.
I think that that's going to be an amazing product for people to just be able to keep a track on their finances as well as their credit. So
yes,
guys, stay tuned for that. It will be ready to roll out for summer.
All right.
And let's see. I guess understanding how credit works in America, building good credit, and knowing the implications of what having bad credit will cost you
Mm-hmm.
are imperative for your financial future. I think it's important. It's definitely a conversation that we will be interested in extending. So if you guys got
Yes.
questions or comments, make sure that you ask below and we will double back and answer anything.
Bye.
Bye.